Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, people. You're back again with Dan and Anthony CFC. This is our transfer reaction show to Mr. Fabrizio Romano, his tweets, his videos on YouTube as well, and giving our humble opinion on what is happening and what is possible as well, and whatever is coming up, and maybe making some links of our own as well at the end of the day, just to give it a little bit of a twist and turns, because it is a fan channel at the end of the day, and our opinion matters a lot in this world, isn't it, Dan?
It certainly does. It's our channel, so we can say what we like.
Exactly
Um,
right.
but yeah, silly season is upon us, is it not?
It is.
Some wild deals being thrown out at the moment, but
Hmm.
the most important ones, I think, are the ones that have been done, and this is the big one. Someone wanted Steven Gerrard has got some serious pull. Like
Can
it's
somebody explain
undeniable.
this to me?
It's undeniable. Like Aston Villa are making moves that Newcastle should be making.
Yeah, can somebody explain this to me? To be honest, how did Villa do this?
And just
With
for anyone who doesn't know, Boubacar Kamara has agreed to join. Official, all done and dusted. He's joined Aston Villa on a free transfer to come and play with Steven Gerrard in his Aston Villa team. Fantastic sign. And this guy was linked very, very heavily in January with Manchester United. There's a
yeah,
lot of talk that he was ready to sign on a free for Atletico Madrid. So they pulled off some magic down at Villa, and this guy has already
he's a
massively improved their midfield.
he's a
He's a
baller
brilliant.
as well.
He is. He's a cracking young player. A lot of props to Aston Villa for getting this deal done. To be honest, it's
Very
a
and very
top piece of
quickly.
business. Yeah. No messing around. The season's ended, and clearly the plan has been in place. Probably for me since Gerrard was kind of appointed to the position, because these kind of deals can't be done this quickly
No,
unless you've done the work in the background. They've worked very hard to get this deal done, and he's going to be a brilliant addition to Aston Villa. He really will be.
and the most important thing that I was like trying to figure out is how did nobody not know anything about it?
Yeah, it was very Liverpool-esque, wasn't it?
Yeah, like
And not
when
saying the
Liverpool
Gerrard
does
link,
things
but
like,
that's how it's. You don't hear stories, and then all of a sudden it's done.
yeah,
Like it's. Well, where did that come from? It was kind of their name was not in the sort of on the lips of anybody until it was done.
exactly
Um,
right. And I was
and
just
they've done a
thinking to
cracking
myself,
job there. I think under Gerrard, he's going to do. I think he's going to be a very good player. I think Aston Villa, when we said on a few other posts, they're going to be pressing those teams in the top between eighth and sixth. They're going to be looking for a Europa League space next season.
so who is he gonna be partnering up with then, in your opinion? Is it John McGinn?
I mean, John McGinn's got to stay. I mean, he's probably Aston Villa's current best midfielder.
He's
The,
bloody brilliant as well.
Yeah, he's missed. He's like for me. He's like the Scottish Genie Wijnaldum. You know what you're going to get out of him. He's
Mm,
going to work hard. He can do bits and pieces, but what he is, he's consistent,
mm.
and he's a very experienced player as well, Premier League, and it'll help a player like Kamara coming in to have someone like him who can, guide him, lead him whilst on the pitch. He's a fantastic talent, but this is step up time. Coming to the Premier League, he's going to have to show what he's about, and I think he's got a very, very good future at Aston Villa. I think it's a great start. Um, Going into there, I mean, there's definitely, I think one of the most interesting stories about Villa will be who's leaving.
Who?
Steven Gerrard's been very vocal about players that he doesn't feel are buying into what they're trying to do at the club. Um, when Aston Villa have lost games, he's been quite critical of players, saying that there's people out on that pitch who aren't doing what I want.
Hmm.
So
I
the
heard
ones
it as
who
well. Yeah.
leave, anyone who leaves from Villa, that's who he's talking about. Simple as that. That'll give you an idea that those players aren't listening to what he wanted them to go out and do. So Douglas Luiz, I mean, where's his future lie? That's going to be an interesting situation as to whether Douglas Luiz, McGinn, and Kamara would all play in the midfield three. But then we have players like Coutinho, Buendia. There's a lot of players, and there's not a lot of midfield positions available.
It's certainly looking like a 4-2-3-1 for next year, isn't it? Like with all these midfielders.
Yeah, and that's the only way that you can see it. I was quite critical of Aston Villa's transfer policy from when they sold Grealish. It looked like they didn't have a plan. They just kind of went, well, sign Leon Bailey. Didn't work out, injuries, that you can't help that, but he's been injured. Emi Buendia has been hit and miss. He's not been great. He's been good, but
He's
he's not been brilliant.
useless.
Yeah, Ollie Watkins has dropped off a lot, which
Mm.
is a shame. He's a good player, but the last season he was so much better than he was. I'm sorry, the season before, because this season's just ended. But he was very good, but he's not been up there. The chances have been created by Aston Villa. They just failed to score them. That's been the problem. So they need a striker for me, and talking centre backs. I think they've already gone and done that. That's straight away.
That's a bloody madness. And yeah, like just as you said, like Diego Carlos from Sevilla, isn't it? It's just another thing that they've just gone and done. And I was just bringing this up on the screen as well.
We'll get it up. But Diego Carlos, again, proper solid European quality centre back being brought in.
Yeah.
I mean, you question. I mean, who's going? Is it Konsa? Is it going to be Mings? I mean, I'm very critical of Tyrone Mings. I don't think he's good enough.
Tyrone Mings can go.
I don't think he's good enough, and I think this would make very good sense if they are going to be looking at kind of moving players on. Mings' stock will still be high in ratio to his value. So for me, it would probably make sense to move him along. But Diego Carlos coming in, undisclosed fee.
31 million apparently.
Yeah, exactly. 31 million. But was that the I mean, that's probably about the right price. But they're making moves down at Aston Villa, and they're going to be a threat next season. They're genuinely going to be a threat. I think those teams like your Arsenals, your Manchester Uniteds, your Tottenhams. I still think Tottenham will finish fourth next season. But your West Hams, your Wolves, they're going to have to watch out because Aston Villa are doing the right kind of business that are going to put them in and about those places. So again, someone's going to miss out. Someone's going to end up missing out. And these kind of signings and the way that the deals are being done, it's really important for Villa because they're showing that they mean business. And Steven Gerrard is now being backed, which is something that's really important because he's come under a little bit of flack about the performances, the wins, and whatnot. But that Aston Villa team has let him down on a number of occasions, not him, but the players. So 100%. If he's given the players, there'll be nowhere to not nowhere to hide. But if he has his own players, then we'll know how good he really is.
100%. And this is what I was just thinking about as well. Like he's doing a fantastic job out there. And also everybody who is watching us please hit that like button, send in your comments as well. We would love to hear your thoughts about these two deals that Aston Villa has done in the transfer market. Also, like our channel is not about the top six. Our channel is about almost every Premier League team that is available right there. Anybody who is doing good, doing bad, we all treat them the exact same way. And
we're here to discuss football at the end of the day, aren't we, Anthony? That's the thing. We want to cover every team, every club, and if there's something you want to talk about, just put it in there and we'll discuss it. Come on the show. That's what we're here for.
100%. If there is a fan out there who is watching right now who wants to come on, doesn't have to be from the top six. You can be anyone, a Burnley fan, an Evertonian.
We want to hear from you.
We do want to hear from you. I don't know whether Dan would like that much because
mate, listen, I've got all the time in the world for Evertonians, all the time in the world. It's we need all these fans. So please, if you want to come on, want to put something in the comments, whatever, we're here, guys. So so Aston Villa fans must be made up.
Yeah,
that's the only thing I can suggest.
definitely you guys would be very, very excited as well, isn't it? And I mean, they're not the only club who is making moves. Then at the end of the day,
Yeah, yeah.
I see Leeds doing some good moves as well. And I just seen him tweet like a day or two ago that uh, what's his name? Brendon
Brendan Aaronson.
Aaronson, isn't it? Brendon Aaronson has
Yeah. Again,
made
business
a
that business that makes sense, doesn't it? We've got that American connection with Jesse Marsh. Um, Again, straight in. He looks like a very good player. He looks like he's got a lot about him. 23 million, is that the price? I think it is 23 million.
28 million for a
28.
21 year
Sorry,
old.
yeah, 28 million pounds fee agreed. This is a quite a statement signing for someone who's
Exactly.
21 years of age.
28 million is not it's good money for a 21-year-old. Yeah.
I think they're pinning a lot of hopes on here, and it looks like the ownership are trusting Jesse Marsh because,
Hmm.
again, not just saying because he's American, but there was no talk of this young man before Jesse Marsh came in.
No.
This only has materialised since Jesse Marsh has come to the club.
Hmm.
He's backing his countrymen to come in here and do a job, and it leads us to the Leeds. There you go, a little bit of a pun there for you. It follows on towards for us to think that the days without Rafinha.
Yeah.
Um, the buzzards are circling as it stands from Barcelona, looking to that they've actually had a bid rejected as
Hmm.
well. They're not. Leeds are only going to listen to offers of around 50 million euros reportedly, so around 40 something million pounds, which is about right, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's a fair deal. I think Barcelona is a little bit disappointed that Leeds didn't get relegated because this deal would have been so much easier to do if they were in the Championship. But Leeds are in a position of power now. They can say, nope, you want him, get your checkbook out. It's time to pay.
Yeah, and I was checking some of the stats of Brendon Aaronson
Yeah,
in the Bundesliga as well. Like he played 26 games and he's scored or assisted 9 times in those 26
that's
games,
good.
which is like 473 like 473 minutes per goal contribution, I believe. It's something of that sort. And played in the Champions League twice as well, which is pretty good. A player who played in the Champions League
Yeah.
8 times, as assisted twice as well. Their FA Cup kind of thing, played in that 5 times, assisted twice as well.
So,
And
so he's got so he's a contributor. So he's clearly a Rafinha replacement, shall we
a
say? And
100%.
so the Leeds are looking to kind of they're looking to get as much cash as they possibly can because there's a lot of money that needs spent at that Leeds club. At the end of the day, they invested very poorly over last season. I don't think they brought anybody of any note into the club.
Hmm.
Injuries ravaged them. I think they were incredibly lucky to stay up.
Hmm.
Um, the
Oh, very
ownership,
lucky.
yeah, the ownership gave Jesse Marsh just enough time to keep them where they are, and they need to back him because with a fully fit Leeds team, I think they're good enough to stay in this league. I don't think they have a problem.
Oh,
Um,
100%.
but this is a big statement signing. A 21-year-old for just short of 30 million pounds is no mean feat at the end of the day. He's proven himself over at RB Salzburg. Jesse Marsh will know him
Hmm.
personally and on a professional level as well. That being Jesse Marsh's old club. He's worked for both RB clubs previously. So he knows enough about him and he's clearly convinced the board that this guy's worth every penny, clearly.
Yeah.
So really looking forward to seeing him and how he plays next season under I'm actually just looking forward to seeing Leeds all together. With Jesse Marsh because I rate him as a manager. I
Yeah,
think
you
he's
do like him quite a bit, isn't it?
I do. He plays a brand of football, and you could see immediately when he came in after Bielsa, they started with a loss, but they only lost 1-0. That was an
Yeah, yeah.
improvement, as daft as it sounds. It was away from home. They created a number of chances, and they lost 1-0, unfortunately, to a very, very good goal from Harvey Barnes.
Hmm.
If I remember correctly, it was a cracking goal.
It
So,
was.
yeah, Leeds doing good business. Quiet at the top, though, at the moment, isn't it?
It
other
is.
than other than the obvious bits and pieces with Haaland and Julian Alvarez at Manchester City, but they've been done for weeks.
Yeah. But staying in that middle to bottom of the league, there was something interesting. So transfers are not only about players. Transfers can also be about managers.
Of
And
course,
just wanted to
and
get your
backroom staff.
thoughts, backroom stuff, and I just wanted to get your thoughts on this. Um, Anderlecht has parted ways with Vincent Kompany,
Yeah,
and Kompany is apparently very close to being appointed as the new Burnley head coach as well. So, what do you? What I do like Vincent Kompany as a player
and you know
as well.
something. And you know something? That's a really good move for Vincent Company. Hi, Twisted Joe, mate. That is a really good move for Vincent to go to a championship club. Is a very good place to cut your teeth
Hmm.
in English football. It's a tough league. The ownership at Burnley will need to spend money. They have a decent enough team. It will depend if they lose key players like Nick Pope, if they do lose players like James Tarkowski.
Tarkovsky, I do love Tarkovsky.
Yeah,
I don't know
you
why.
know,
I really do like him.
there's a number of players at Burnley who, if I'm a mid-table club, I'd be looking at them. If I
Hmm.
was Brighton, if I was, if I was an Everton, most definitely an Everton. I mean, the main thing about Everton, unfortunately, is they actually have no money. They can't buy anyone. They're because of the FFP rules. They can't buy anybody. So that will be interesting and a story for another day. But the key for Vincent moving there will be keeping the players that he already has and convincing them that this is the right project, because it can be quite difficult to sell the story of, do you fancy playing 42 games a week in the Championship, or would you like to play in the Premier League?
Yeah, yeah.
It's a hard sell. But if someone like Vincent Kompany would be a brilliant person to work under. I mean, if he's a modern sort of legend, shall we say? He's only just finished his career, but again, like Steven Gerrard, people are going to want to work under him. I'd
Mhm.
imagine they want to listen to what he has to
A
say,
lot of
learn the kind of
defenders
thing.
would like to work under him, isn't it?
Massively, yeah, exactly. And I think that would be. I think this is a really astute appointment by Burnley to
Yeah.
bring in somebody like Vincent Kompany, who's done very well at Anderlecht, or be the Belgian league with the top club in the Belgian sort of sphere of football. But he's decided to take on a big challenge, Vincent, and obviously I wish him the best of luck to go there and try and get them back into the Premier League, because that will be the ultimate goal for him.
Yeah. And this question from Twisted is actually very intriguing the way he has asked this question, to be honest. Morning, guys, and morning, Twisted,
More
as
interesting.
well. Thank you for watching. And if
Boy.
anybody doesn't know who Twisted is, he is our resident moderator. Please do not say anything because Twisted
And
will do.
Crystal Palace fan.
And resident Crystal Palace fan, uh, a faithful Conor Gallagher fan, Declan Rice fan. He wants everybody to buy Declan Rice. But yeah, how ambitious are players signing for these mid-table teams and below? Can wages be the key driver? I mean, this is a really, 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 really good question. And for me, I would say, like for a player like Boubacar Kamara, yes, the project might be good, uh, and everything would be good. But if a team like Manchester United came in for him in January, uh, they're probably willing to pay him good money as well. For
Yeah.
him to then, somehow go into Aston Villa out of nowhere, the wages probably would have been a key driver as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think Aston Villa would be paying him a king's ransom though.
But
I don't think they're going to be paying him well over the odds. I think they'll have realised that he's a free transfer, and when
Mhm,
you're a free transfer, the only person that you have to, well, agree to is yourself.
mhm,
You're the only person who has to kind of say whether or not I want this deal to happen or not.
mhm.
I'd be interested to see what his wages are, but I'm assuming that the wages that he'll be on at Aston Villa would have easily been matchable by other clubs. I rightly doubt that it was going to be an extortionate amount of money because we all know he's got great talent, and when he's on a free transfer, his wages will be inflated anyway, because they're not paying the fee up front, so they're able to pay a bit more. But I think really when it comes to signing for these mid-table clubs, it's about selling as you say, the project, for want of a less of a buzzword, is selling what is happening here. And when you're discussing that meeting with them, what role are they going to play in that team? How is the team going to play? What are the goals that they're going to be working towards? Who's going to be signed for the club as well? That's really important to sit there and say, who am I going to be working with? Because I can go to Atletico Madrid. That was an offer that was clearly on the table. Manchester United didn't go for him, but he was linked quite heavily with going there.
I would have loved for Chelsea to go for him, but unfortunately, we are in a situation where we can go for players now, but we couldn't at that stage. But I would have loved to go for him, to be honest.
And that's it. It's the kind of signing that you would, especially for a team like Chelsea, just to bring in an extra body, a young player, who would work well in there. But clearly, the whatever they've said to him at Aston Villa has put it in a way that goes, do you know something? That's where I want to be. I feel like this is the kind of project I want to commit my
It's the
next
same
5
thing that
years.
happened with Buendia last year as well, isn't it? Like he was all but done for Arsenal, but then chose Aston Villa. It's just something. It means that the club is run really, really well. They got a proper setup in order to sign these types of players.
Yeah.
And speaking about Arsenal, Dan, they have also completed a signing. I'm not sure whether you know about this.
Oh, it's not a re-signing, is it? Or is it actually a signing?
It
Because
is
I
a
know about... Oh,
It
I
is
know
a
who you're talking
re-signing, but
about.
still, they have signed somebody. You know what I mean?
Hey,
They have
Elneny, there
signed.
we go.
They have signed somebody. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? At the end of the day,
That's it. They've signed him on a 1-year deal until next year. There we are then.
yeah.
Fantastic.
So, what do you think about this deal, then?
Mate, I didn't even know he
Because,
played there.
like, for me, 1 year is not that bad. Giving them that extra body for 1 more year experience as well.
It is, but it's going to be interesting to see. 1 second.
Yeah, I mean, Dan's on daddy duties as well at the same time. But no, for me, I just look at it as a good signing at the end of the day. It's just 1 year, gives you that extra body in that midfield as well. If by chance you do know that Thomas Partey is definitely gonna get injured. He is definitely gonna get injured, and it is what it is. So that's why I feel like having any type of player to come in and replace Thomas Partey in the games would help them out because he does bring that little bit of
It
experience as well.
is, but I mean, after the failure of getting, not getting into top 4 when it was there to be had, it's great to have, but I wouldn't be making. I don't know. I wouldn't be making a big deal out about it. Photo opportunities and all the rest of it. It's just been a case of something you put out as a. At least one Egyptian Mo is not scared to put pen to paper. Fair enough.
There is one.
Hey, listen.
Okay.
Hey, listen. At least the one who hasn't signed a contract has got options. In all honesty, but no, we'll wait and see. I think Liverpool have got a big game on Saturday that might have a problem as to why we're not signing contracts at the moment. So let's wait and see after that game, and we'll work out what happens after there. But yeah, in some I've read, it was sport.com had put out that Alvaro Morata was very close to agreeing a £30 million deal to go to Arsenal. That's a bit of a tap. Yeah, apparently. That is, if you have a look, Alvaro Morata to Arsenal is a thing, by the way. So it's very close according to Sport. So we will wait and see if the Spanish hitman is
I
able
mean,
to.
he's not a hitman. Is if he was given a contract, it's more or less to miss the target. Basically, that's what he would do. But
Yeah,
also, I like to add on to onto whatever, because we are working mainly with whatever Fabrizio posts on Twitter and whatever he puts on YouTube and things like that, because it's important, because he is a very very good journalist out there giving us the news. He works tirelessly and does it all the time. And people like to always say, oh, he got it wrong, this happens, that happens, how people are most of the time in this football Twitter. At the end of the day, like, I like to add on this, he doesn't say that it's definitely gonna happen. It's not his decision. It's just what he has been told
yeah. And if
by the
anything can
club or
change,
the
can't it?
agent. That's
Anything,
it.
things can change, and I think one of the most recent ones that has changed is the Chouameni
Yeah,
situation.
exactly.
Um,
Like,
there was,
look at the Mbappe thing. That was sure but done. And
yeah, I think everyone assumed that that deal was all done and dusted. He was going to go to Real Madrid, and
mm,
I mean, PSG decided to offer him the keys to the club. So
don't
there's not really
don't
much.
don't don't do this twisted. You know the answer to this.
Yeah, I think we know the answer to that one. I'm afraid. But yeah, I think it's going to be, as I say, one of the most recent ones at the moment where there's some conjecture about one of the major signings is
Mm,
Aurelien Chouameni
yeah,
from Monaco. Um, I was in the camp that I believe that it was done, that Liverpool were going to sign him. It's still possible.
oh yeah, yeah. There is
Um,
always a possibility that it is
there's
done.
always that possibility. But unfortunately, Mbappe has caused problems around football by choosing not to sign for Real Madrid,
Yeah,
which has now caused Liverpool problems. So, yeah, Monaco are currently trying their very best to squeeze every penny that they possibly can out
because
of that
now they are
sale.
in a, but now that, because they can right now, because there is a lot of money left for clubs like Real Madrid, because of that Mbappe deal not happening at the end of the day.
There is a lot of money, but it's interesting that the first major target that they could be discussing is not actually in the same position as Mbappe, but it's central defensive midfielder. It makes no. I don't know. It seems a little bit desperate in a
Yeah,
way,
maybe
but
maybe what they're thinking of maybe is like, right, we still have Benzema. Benzema is probably good for another couple of years anyway. Let's try to fix our midfield by trying to get Chouameni in, no matter what the cost is, because he is definitely going to be the next best thing. Look at what
well,
is happening to Declan Rice,
well,
120
that's it.
million.
But this is where things are getting carried away. We're talking about 80. I mean, 80 to 100 million euros for a central
It's a
defensive
madness.
midfielder. It's ridiculous. A player whose actual contribution to a team is not going to add up to 80 million pounds worth of output.
Mhm.
You pay that kind of money for someone who's going to score 30, 40 goals a season, who's going to win your matches and stuff like that. The Chouameni's the kind of players who they recycle the ball, they put tackles in, they play passes, keep you moving forward, prevent goals from actually happening.
Yeah,
But at that price, you need to be the best player in the world in that position.
yeah,
And
I get what you mean.
who knows? You're 22, anything can happen. It's always a risk with young players that you don't know which way they actually go. There's been a number of players, who you think are going to go to the stars and end up plateauing and going nowhere.
Yeah, and so keeping it on strikers and on Arsenal, then Arsenal are almost in the verge of, let's say, re-signing another striker, which is Mr. Eddie Nketiah.
Yeah, Eddie Nketiah. Yeah, he wants 100,000 a week
A
apparently
100,000 a week,
for a man who only turns up for 2 months a season.
and
Yeah,
5 million in bonuses.
and 5 million in bonuses. So that's 5.2 million a year, and then another 5 million as well for Eddie Nketiah.
That's a 30 million pound deal.
Yeah, good luck to you. That's all I'll say. If that's what they want to do, good luck to him. But I think that's terrible business. I think that'd be absolutely horrendous business. Eddie Nketiah is not good enough.
To, to
He's
put it
not
on
even as good as Origi,
to
and we
put
let
it
him go for
onto a
free.
bit of context, right? Mason Mount is on 80,000 a week. Reece James is on 56,000 a week. Reece James is on par with Trent Alexander-Arnold for goal contributions in the Premier League this season. And that man is on 56,000 a week. Obviously, we have to put their wages up. But Eddie Nketiah, what has he done? 2 goals against Chelsea and couple of goals afterwards.
Two
Does he
goals
deserve?
against Leeds. He turned up for 2 months this season. That was it. Rest of the season, that's it. Like, yeah, 100,000 a week plus 5 million in bonuses. Well, good luck to Arsenal if that's what they're going to do. Because for me, that's nonsense. Like, he's not good enough. He's not good enough.
Yeah, like
Um,
I was also looking at one of his videos recently, Fabrizio's videos. Hopefully, I can get it up in the screen. Then, if you will
yeah, sure.
uh, allow me to see, let me see. Yeah, so this is what he had to say. If we can give it a little bit of a listen.
Manchester City, that soon will be official also. Tony Rudiger to Real Madrid, Karim Adeyemi to Borussia Dortmund. So many things are happening, but today I want to discuss about Arsenal because they're fighting for a Champions League spot. They're doing an
Please
incredible
also
job.
go
We know
and
what happens with the table, but what they did this season, the director Edo Gaspar and the manager Mikel Arteta has been huge, and now we're entering into the transfer strategies for the Gunners.
So the transfer strategies for the Gunners mainly are like gonna be like Gabriel Jesus. I think this is a great deal
Yeah, they
from.
seem to be set. Yeah, the forgotten man that Manchester City's been trying to convince everybody all season that they played with no striker. What's
Hmm?
Gabriel Jesus? Oh, he's a striker.
He's a striker.
But that's like saying that Liverpool haven't played without a goalkeeper because Alisson hasn't had to do anything all season. No, no, he is actually a striker. Funnily enough, you just because you don't play him as one, it's not his fault. Jesus would be a great piece of business for Arsenal, but just
Fantastic, to be honest.
but in an odd way, it doesn't seem to make any sense that Man City would try and make a competitor better. It just doesn't seem.
The
It doesn't
thing, the
sound
thing.
very Man City like, to be
No,
honest.
the thing is, they have apparently Manchester City. Apparently, Gabriel Jesus has only 1 year left on his contract,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And they got uh, who is this guy? Alvarez? Is it Alvarez?
Julian Alvarez.
Yeah,
He's come from River Plate.
yeah. So Julian Alvarez coming in, and also Erling Haaland coming in, whereas Gabriel Jesus is becoming a surplus. So they're trying to sell him off for 50 million or upwards,
With
right?
one year on his deal. Yeah, I don't think they'll get that. I don't
And
think they'll get
and and apparently Man City are willing to. I don't know. Apparently, if it's gonna happen, apparently that is what's gonna happen, and this is incredible, isn't it? Like if they do get that 50 million, it is pretty incredible by Manchester City side of things. But like one good thing Gabriel Jesus gives you is like, you know, he can play in that right side, he can play in that left side, play in that false nine, and all these things, And Neil, mate, welcome to the show, and great
that.
to see you here as well. And Arsenal is not a competitor, to be fair. I mean,
No, not in there, but within the Premier League sphere, it's very rare that they ever really kind of do stuff like that. But I think they'll have to sell City. To be honest, I don't know whether the hand will probably be forced, and it'll depend on who's in that kind of discussion as it stands to bring them in. But yeah, Jesus would be a very good signing for them. He would be a much better option than Eddie Nketiah at the very least.
I mean, Jesus again. He's in double figures this year as well, which is absolutely brilliant, isn't it? Like, if, for me, Arsenal do need a striker for sure.
Absolutely.
I thought they were gonna let Eddie go and then have Jesus and another striker come in. And if this is what it's gonna look like, it's just for me, it's magnificent business by Manchester City. To be honest, That's how I look at it.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. If they can get the deal done, definitely.
100%. So let's look in more into this video. Let's see.
Because, as I told you, it's going to be really important to see if they will play Champions League football or not. We know how important, how crucial is this end of the season for Arsenal to understand what will be the future of the club and this Champions League football point. But the project is really solid. They offered and signed a new deal with Mikel Arteta, with the world support from the board. They trust him. Edu, the director of football, did an incredible job during the summer. Arteta is doing an incredible job with many players. Arsenal
Pause that. I don't agree with that. He's doing an incredible job with transfers, an incredible job, but at Arsenal, he's not.
But this is the thing. This is what the club is feeding him. To be fair.
Yeah. No. I mean, that's a fallacy. That's a lie that they're doing well. Like they're doing what you'd expect. The transfers that they brought in have been poor. The transfers that they've actually brought in haven't really worked out. Ben White, £50 million centre back, he's been a calamity. He just looks good with his tattoos and his Spice Girls hairstyle.
I don't know. I like Ben White though.
Oh, he's someone who does well looking good at not being good. Tomiyasu
what are these things called?
Constantly injured.
What do they call them? Eye test merchants.
Well, that's it. He looks good, not being very good. That's the thing. He's just not that great. He really isn't. And the number of times he's got away with the dark arts, shall we say, it's all going to catch up to him. But yeah, the signings that they've made, they conceded more goals this season and lost just as many. And they bought mainly defenders.
They lost more than last season, I think.
Lost more and conceded more goals. And they spent most of that money on defense. So that
Tavares guy was garbage.
Oh mate, he's like George Weah's cousin, isn't he? He's a fraud. He ain't real. Like he's an awful player.
I remember Arsenal fans saying after the first 10 games that they got the better right back or left back. Where does he play? Right back, right? No, left back.
Tierney.
No, left back, isn't it? This guy.
Oh yeah, Kieran Tierney's the best Scottish left back in world football.
No. I mean Tavares. He plays left back, isn't it?
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
they were saying that he was better than Emerson Royale because they were gonna get Emerson Royale, and Tottenham was looking at Tavares, but the opposite of it happened. Emerson Royale, yes, he is not that great, but he still was available for Tottenham almost every single game this season, and also helped them to finish in the top 4. I mean,
and there you go. That's the thing. Tavares and Emerson Royale are both not good enough in the first place. Did Pep ever get the best at Jesus?
It's a difficult one. He still scored double digits.
I mean, Jesus has been he's missed sitters. His actual expected goals is quite high compared to actually how many he scores. So Jesus is a victim of not finishing his chances as well. So I think that might. Old. Yeah, he's the right age. This is probably the best time for someone to go for him. He's probably reaching what he is. You know, what he's going to give you. He's going to work hard. He's trained well. I think he'd be a good signing for them.
Look at this, right? 13 goals in all competitions and 12 assists in all competitions and played 41 games. That's actually not that bad.
Yeah, 25 goal GA goal and assist contribution a season is very good. It's really good. But it's what you would expect from playing in a Manchester City team.
Yeah, and so going on to one of the point that Fab is making over here, they did offer him that contract after 3 straight losses.
Yeah, and it was a rock and a hard place because if they'd given him the contract, if they'd qualified for Champions League, then it would have been spun that he got the contract for getting Champions League. But instead, they've given him the contract and he's failed.
It's like a premature game. It's like a premature thingy, isn't it?
Yeah, it was PR. I think it was just a spin. There's no reason that deal couldn't have been signed after the season ended. There's no reason that it couldn't have been done. It could have just been, we're going to do a new deal this week, for example. You know, Mikel Arteta is going to sign a 3-year deal, blah, blah, blah. But no, they did it right in the middle of the season. Whether it was trying to give the club a bit of a Klopp type boost when Klopp agreed his deal just after the first bit. Yeah, that's the only reason I can think of as to why it needed to be done when it was done. I mean, I don't think anyone was going to come in and steal Mikel Arteta away from
No.
This is straight out of the Manchester United playbook, to be totally honest with you, with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You know, let's give him a massive deal, even though no one's going to come and take him.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Anyway,
don't understand it. To me, it's weird.
nah, I get it. I get it. Let's move on in this video. What he wants to
Yep.
say.
Extend the contract of Nketiah, who is doing great because he was tempted by these possibilities in England with West Ham and Crystal Palace, in Bundesliga with many clubs.
Wait, so Eddie Nketiah had interest from West Ham and Crystal Palace, and they didn't sell him as well. Jesus, that's a bit weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, not to cash out. You'd have thought they got that deal done, but I think you've dodged a bullet, West Ham and Palace fans. That's all I'm going to say.
I would assume so. So when we
Approaching him,
continue,
but now he's playing for Arsenal, and so they will try to change his mind and extend the contract. But I have an important news, guys, about Gabriel Jesus, because Arsenal will sign a new striker in the summer, an important striker, and I have an exclusive interview, an exclusive statement with the agent of Gabriel Jesus, Marcelo Pettinati, who tells me these words. We had talks with Arsenal about Gabriel Jesus, and we like the project. We enjoyed.
so for me, it seems like pretty much it's gonna happen, isn't it?
It's very positive communication, that, isn't it? It looks like they're happy with what's got to be said. It'll be now probably down to agreeing the price. That'll be the most important thing.
Mhm.
But as well, let's not kid ourselves. Gabriel Jesus will be looking for offer some other clubs.
Oh, he also will be coming in with pretty big wages as well.
Yeah, but he's going to be looking at other projects as well, because one of the downsides for Arsenal, and this will affect them when it comes to attracting the names, unfortunately, is missing out on that Champions League football. Some people like to pretend that, oh yeah, like, you know, if you're not in the Champions League, it doesn't matter. Well, it does. It genuinely does matter, because for these players who have aspirations to go on and win trophies, if you're competing in the same markets as clubs that are in Champions Leagues, it makes it a lot more difficult, and it makes it a lot more difficult as well if you're also a club who is just qualified and then you're competing against someone who's trying to go to the latter stages. These guys want to win trophies. They have their own egos to stroke. Every club is rich now.
Yeah.
Genuinely, every club is rich. So there's no longer the days of, you know, well, we can pay 150 grand a week, you can only pay 100. You've got clubs out there who are mid-table paying 150, 160, 170,000 pounds a week. So cash isn't the be-all and end-all. It's now a much sort of deeper thing. And going back to that kind of buzzword that we used, which was the project, that is what it's about.
Project.
Yeah, the project is. It's not trying to sound too much like V.S. Boas, but yeah, you love him, don't you? I loved him as well. I thought he was great. But
I actually did think he was great. It's the fact that he just came into the wrong situation at that time. It is what it is.
It was the wrong time. But yeah, I digress. But yeah, that's it. It's a case of being able to convince the player and his family and his agent and his cat and his dog and everybody else who needs, you know, his mum. They all need convincing now. It's no longer you know, it's you got to sell them. What is it they're going to do? What's the club going to be doing? What's it going to be competing for? Who am I going to be playing with? What competitions are we going to go for? You know, what style of football are we going to play? Because it's no longer just, oh yeah, here's 200 grand a week, and they'll be like, yep, sign the contract, no problem at all, because they can earn that money at several other clubs.
Yep, 100%. I get what you mean. Thank you for all you guys who are still staying with us and watching our stream. Please hit our like button as well as, and also share it on your socials. We are coming on to another transfer story that Romano put out. It's with regards to Tottenham Hotspur. I believe we saw this coming a mile before. It's Kulusecki and apparently they are 100% sure that they're going to sign him for the future, and uh, it's all good to go. And this is so good, isn't it? Because it's an obligation to buy 35 million euros.
Mm.
This is fantastic
He's
business.
staying on loan. That's the difference.
Yeah, it's
Staying
fantastic,
next
no?
season. If he plays 20 games at 45 minutes and Spurs will qualify for the Champions League, so they have to do both next season for the obligation at 35 million euros, which will be, if he plays the same way as he did this season, it'll be a bargain.
Yeah.
30 million quid. It's a bargain. He's a good
And
player.
like I never expected him to do this good coming in January, isn't him
Nobody
and
did.
Bentancur? Oh, wonderful, wonderful thing. And just wanted to show that and show this piece with regards to Kulusevski, because I think it's an important thing and it's something that we should mention because he has done really, 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 really well. Him and Bentancur as well. So yeah, there you go. So that's something. So we're coming on to some of the big news ahead. Then it's let me start before going into Chelsea, because there is a lot to talk about with Chelsea.
Yeah, you got a lot of players you need to sign.
Yeah. And let's start off with Manchester United. Apparently 5 players have been discussed, so let's see what Fab has to say with regards to this. Let me see. Okay, let me take back the video. Yeah.
As I mentioned, Erik ten Hag is already at work for Manchester United. Of course, it will take some time to make all the big decisions, but the intention at Manchester United is to back 100% the manager, to trust his ideas. As I told you many times here, while there were negotiations between Ten Hag and Manchester United.
So this comes back to the idea of, like, I think this is brilliant, isn't it? They do this all the time, Manchester United, as they did it with David Moyes. As soon as he came in, backed him, no problem. Jose Mourinho, Van Gaal comes in, backs him, no problem. Mourinho comes in, backs him, no problem. Even even Oli, they backed him quite a bit, isn't it, Oli, as well?
It's all sounds great, doesn't it? Oh, we're going to back the manager. You don't say. Like, really? Like,
Obviously.
yeah, you're not going to, really? You're going to support your manager? I mean, they're not going to say they're not. Oh, yeah, we're not going to give anyone, we don't trust in Ten Hag. We're not going to give him the players he wants. We don't believe in what he has to say.
Ten Hag can go do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah,
We don't give
filler,
a shit.
isn't it? It's nonsense. Don't listen to that. Like, of course you're going to do that. It's like saying, "Oh, I'll go to work tomorrow. I'm going to listen to what my boss has to say." You say that because you have to. You might not.
Yeah.
You might not.
Right.
It's still a possibility. You might not.
And this is where I think the most important things are coming up next on the video, which is good. But before we go to those parts, why should anyone believe the United boat rinse and repeat FC? I feel the same way, to be honest. I believe a lot of people feel the same way, but I also do believe that Erik ten Hag is the right guy for Manchester United as well, with what they want to do. And there has been little changes that has been happening at Manchester United. I do like the signs of it, but it's just a waiting game right now. But I do like all these.
They have to wait and see. Ultimately, that's the main thing. It's a wait and see approach, because as Twist just said, we've been here before.
Yeah,
we've seen
100%.
this before. Oh yeah, this is the new one. This is it. This is it. This is right. We're going to do this. We're going to do that, and people get carried away, and it becomes a bit of a diagram. Like, oh, new manager. This is our year. These are the signings. Results don't go their way, and then we go back round again. So the best thing for United fans is to just go, okay, show me.
So let's go on with the video, what he has to say.
For the Dutch manager, is really important to have the full support.
Let's see.
Erik ten Hag, Steve McLaren, Mitchell van der Haag, so names mentioned internally, and Manchester United will soon make decisions on these players, whether they want to proceed with these names, whether not, where they can have the possibility to sign them, where not. So let's enter into details. One of the names mentioned in the last 48 hours is Jurrien Timber.
So this has been coming up quite a bit as well. I think this deal is pretty much done, isn't it? This Jurrien Timber thing to Manchester United.
Yeah, it makes absolute sense, doesn't it? I mean, I can't portray to know an incredible amount about him.
I have no idea as well.
Yeah, I don't watch the Dutch Eredivisie. He's clearly a well thought of player. He's clearly good enough to be in that Ajax team. They absolutely need centre backs. There's a belief from what I'm told that he could actually play right back.
And if anybody knows in the comments how good Jurrien Timber is, please comment and let us know as well, because I would definitely love to learn about him. If you do see any compilations or anything of that sort, please post the link below.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I could take a look at it. I was just wondering who the hell this
guy
is.
This is it. And I think it'll be interesting to see how. I mean, he's only a young man. So I'm sure he's only 22. I think he's the same age as Konate is, and
Let's see his stats. To be honest,
let's bring those up. It's not putting out there and just saying it'll be interesting to see. This is going to be a big step up for him, not just in terms of quality in the Premier League, the teams he's going to be playing up against. No disrespect to teams like ADO Den Haag and Twente and Wilhelm too. They're good teams, but they're clearly not the standards of Premier League squads, I'm afraid. So it's going to be interesting to put on that side. But the other side is it's the pressure levels. It's a different kind of pressure coming to a team like Manchester United, because the expectation is a lot higher. Ajax, brilliant team, very big club, but they're here. United's it's a lot higher. It's a big jump in expectation level. So he's going to have to step up to that, and he's going to get opportunities, because I don't think Varane will stay fit. I don't think he will.
Maguire will kick somebody and injure that guy, and then
Maguire. I mean, I don't know where Maguire stays in that team. I don't know how he has a future, because the fans aren't with him. The fans don't support him. The fans aren't interested. So for me,
apparently he's only 20 years old, and he seems to have some good stats against him. But it's good that he's coming to Manchester United when there is like a manager like Erik Ten Hag, because Ten Hag clearly knows him as well at the same time.
Definitely, he clearly believes in him. Believes that he's a good player. 20-year-old defenders and centre backs aren't going to win you the league, but they will definitely give you some options. They'll definitely give some more flexibility when it comes to the defensive line, because I think we've agreed on a couple of times, just like Chelsea, United need to sign at least 2 or 3 defensive players this season.
And this is the thing, like it's like we have players leaving on free transfers.
Yeah,
United have players that they need to get rid of. Like we have no option, but we need to, we have to sign them. Whereas United
therein lies the problem, isn't it? And therein lies the problem, that when you try and sell a player who's not in form, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, potentially Harry Maguire,
because apparently he was called Spider-Man or something, isn't it?
Yeah, Alex Telles. There's a number of players.
Mr. Whippy 99.
There you go. These players have not been. I mean, I just don't see it. I've said it about Lukaku. It's all well and good saying we're going to sell a player. The problem is you need to find a buyer, and then agree a price that's at least reasonable. When you bought these players for circa £130 million between 2 of them, you can't just give them away. It's not good business.
100%. So let's move on in the video and see.
Back from Ajax, so the of Manchester United ideas since long time of the done. We have to mention his name because he's a player they discussed. There is still nothing done, but of course we have to mention his name if it's. But at the moment,
nothing
they mentioned. From what I'm told, Pau would be open for.
So Pau Torres is another one. I know you don't like him much, Dan, but Pau Torres is another one.
I don't mind him. I just don't think he's worth the money that they're quoting. I just don't think I think there's better players or players who can do his job which won't cost as much as Pau Torres.
Right.
I think they're paying for the idea that because he's the Spain centre back. I think that's where
Oh,
this
is
kind of
he?
he's their first. I'm sure he's one of their first true centre backs for Spain now.
Right. Okay.
He's a good
I
player.
I know that he went to the Olympics to represent Spain.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Pau was in the Euros. Pretty sure he was
Right.
within that Spain team, which isn't great on the whole anyway. They're going through a bit of a
Weird
move.
period.
Yeah, it's a strange period after being such a dominant team that they're going through, just like Barcelona is. They don't really know where they are. But yeah, Pau Torres, he'd be open to the idea. But of course, you'd be open to the idea. It's
Yeah,
Manchester United.
it
They'd
is
be mad
Manchester
not to.
United, isn't it?
Yeah, it'd be mad
Yeah,
not
yeah.
to.
I get what you mean. So let's move on in the video and see who the other targets are.
So let me mention that these are not the only names, but some of the names they discussed internally. Pau Torres and
Did you?
So not the only ones, but for sure two names that were part of these conversations. And then another name I wanted to mention, of course, discussing about strikers, as I always told you, Darwin Nunez is a player.
Now this is an interesting one. Darwin Nunez.
I don't see it happening.
I don't see it happening either. And Neil coming and
He
backing
did, yeah.
you. Yep.
I thought he did, yeah. I was like thinking, am I, having one of those mad memories where it didn't happen? But yeah, he did. He was quality. Yeah, Darwin Nunez. I mean, I'm not. I'll keep this energy for you guys. Already know this, but I'm not a great believer in signing players after one good season.
I am as well.
Like I don't believe that it's a good idea to go. Oh, he's been incredible this season.
It's a lot of money, by the way. It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of cash because if you look at Darwin Nunez's season last season before this one, he wasn't the kind of player that you'd be talking this kind of cash for. So you just need to be careful because if you end up paying 60 odd million pounds for a player who then comes and does nothing, it sounds like another failure waiting to happen for me. I think the best thing to do, if they were the only team, and I think a lot of other clubs will be best practice just to allow him to stay at Porto and see what happens between now and January.
Benfica, isn't it?
Oh, sorry, yeah, he stays at Benfica. Sorry, yeah, stays at Benfica between now and January and see whether or not he is the player that he's showing at the moment. There's been a number of players who have had great one seasons. Michu, Wilfred Boney. We're all incredible strikers.
Michu.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I remember.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
That's what I'm saying. And I'm not saying he's going to be Michu, but what I'm saying is they're out there, guys.
Did you remember him for Swansea that first
It was
season?
amazing.
He was so good.
And then look at him next season. Where did he go? Like
Mitch. Oh, he was fantastic.
And there you go. And that's why I'm key. Because again, as a Liverpool fan, we've been linked to him. We've been linked to Darwin Nunez.
You put a smile on my face today, Dad.
Yeah.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, this is it. Roque Santa Cruz, there's another one. These players are out there, I'm afraid. They can convince you they're incredible for one season and then they just disappear. It does happen. But yeah, so oh crikey, I lost me here. But since Liverpool's a Liverpool fan, we've been linked to Nunez as well.
I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad player or anything.
No, and neither am I. He's a good player. But my worry is when you look at your statistics and he started here and all of a sudden he's gone to the moon in one season. Normally you have a correction. There's a bit of a correction in them where they drop back down again.
It's like that Vlahovic situation, isn't it?
Yeah, and there you go. You look at a player in a certain team or a certain system and they look incredible. They score loads of goals and they're like, wow, this guy's the man. And he just screams Vlahovic to me.
Right. So I was just checking his stats, right? So I'm going back to 18-19 just to see what's what. So 18-19, he's only 22. So that means he would have been 18 years old, right?
Yeah.
So he's only played 8 games and scored 3s. This is when he was playing back in Uruguay, I believe, right?
Oh yeah, okay.
And he was playing center forward 6 times and scored 3 goals, which is not bad. So
That's decent.
50%.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So 1920, uh, he's still playing in La Liga 2, so which is like the championship, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he's played 32 games. In that 32 games, he's played 31 times as a center forward and once as a winger. So within that 32 games, he's scored 16 goals and assisted 3 times. So that's not that bad as well. Like, to be honest, like, again, 50% of the games he plays, he scores, basically, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean, right? And 20 and 21. So this is when he's breaking out.
Well, this is before this season, isn't it?
Yeah, so this is just before this season. So this is him coming into the scene, basically.
Well, this was
So
when he goes to Benfica when he makes the step up, doesn't he?
I think this is in Benfica is in the Portuguese league. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So this is he was playing in the Portuguese league and playing in the Europa League and so on and so forth. So played 43 times as a center forward. 43 times as a center forward. Scored 13 goals. It can be because of the first season as well, but he assisted 12 times. So that is 25 goal contributions in 43 games, which is not that bad as well.
It's good. It's still good,
It's not
but
great.
it's what you're going to expect. He's at the most dominant team in Portuguese football, if not the second most dominant team in Portuguese football.
Mm.
You know, he's playing centre forward. If he's not putting these numbers out there, you'd be worried. Do you understand
Yeah.
what I mean? Be worried that if you can't score goals at Benfica playing as their number one centre forward, then there's a problem.
And this is what most interests me, right? This season. So he's played 41 games, scored 34 times, and assisted 4 times, right? So this is where he actually broke out, like, and
Yeah, he's
showed that
jumped massive. It's a huge
massive.
jump.
Yeah, but he only played 28 times as a center forward and scored 18 goals in that. So he's pretty much on par of what has been happening in the previous year.
Yeah.
The best that came out is when he played as a second striker and a left winger. So when he played as a second striker, he scored 6 goals, and as a left winger, he played 5 times and scored 10 goals. So there is something there within him.
There's something. There's definitely something there, but as I say, it's not jumping on something while the deal's hot, shall we say? Because for me, cheers, mate. But I think there's a possibility that I don't know. He just gives me vibes that he's going to have a bit of a drop off. I don't know why. You know, and you just get a feeling that
No, I get what you mean.
It looks like a player who's riding a bit of a wave at the moment, and I'd be interested to see how. For me, if because I'll go from a Liverpool perspective, because I know that apparently we were interested in him, and we probably are interested in him.
I think so. I think even Chelsea are interested in him.
Yeah. So, but for me, I'd be more willing just to kind of go. I want to give him another 3-4 months, you know, and just to see if he is actually the man who we think he might be, shall we say? Because the last thing you want is to sign a player and have a Vlahovic situation where it's like, where's he gone?
Yeah.
Why is he not scoring goals?
Exactly. And the next player that he discusses in that video is actually Frankie de Jong, but I just don't see it happening, to be honest.
No, I mean, it's hard. I think it might be hard for some United fans to let go of the fact is that they don't have the same pull that they used to, and it's the truth. They haven't won a major trophy for 5 years. They've had a lot of problems within the club.
They do have the money. They have the money,
but that's where we've discussed, haven't we? So does lots of other clubs. So do lots of other clubs. They have money, and you can't.
He's gonna be on a very, very high wage as well. Then
I mean, there's talk that he's on 400 grand a week at Barca as it stands.
No wonder they're fucking broke, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I mean, they went crazy. They went full housing market on it and just went, yep, 800 grand a week for Antoine Griezmann. Yeah, no issues. £1 million a week for Messi, no problem. Ousmane Dembele's on a ridiculous amount of cash. They were just signing players like, they were printing their own money at the end of the day, and that's why Barca
Philip
is.
Coutinho for 150 odd million, and
Yeah, I mean, and they sold him for a
17.
£17 million. They made nearly a 90% loss on him. So
Yeah.
yeah, great business. But yeah, so I'm interested. I don't think De Jong. I think the Dutch connection works out. I think that makes sense, but I don't see it. I don't
Yeah.
see it at all. It seems like he's going to have offers from clubs who can offer a lot more as it stands than what United can offer.
I think even City are looking at him as well. So
I
that's
mean, yeah. I mean, if City are genuinely looking at him, there isn't going to be a discussion. I'm afraid. I think City will just get him.
yeah. So coming on to the one that most of you guys here are waiting for, it is the Chelsea transfer news from Fabrizio Romano. It's more or less he's talking about the plans, what the club is gonna do with the new owners coming in, which is very interesting for me as a Chelsea fan as well. I believe Neil, he would be very happy to maybe hear this news as well. Neil, if you are very happy about hearing this, please hit that like button and let us know what you think about the video in the comments as well, bro. So let's dive into what he has to say. So let's see where he is. Ta, 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 ta. I'm just right.
And so, guys, I wanted to share something positive, with Chelsea fans, because
Thank God.
in the last few months, as I mentioned before, it's been really difficult. It's been really complicated for Thomas Tuchel, for the board, as these sanctions created.
Bro, I'll tell you one thing. It has been complicated for all Chelsea fans, and bloody hell, man. Thank God.
A huge problem to
Definitely.
the club, a huge problem, of course, to the players too, reacting to the general situation to the club. It was really, really considered complicated. So that's why the season in the Premier League was not the best one. In the Champions League, really unlucky with Real Madrid. But now, for Chelsea Football Club, is a new era. The feeling I'm having, and the first thing I'm told about new Chelsea project, is that they want to be really active on the market this summer.
They've got no choice.
This is what I was gonna say. What else are we supposed to do?
You've got no players, especially in defence.
But the most important thing that I get from him from there, yes, we don't have a choice. We have to be active, but we are gonna be active. Like him saying, it means that the club is feeding him that information, which is actually good to know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is, and we know, that you've got to be. But I think active can mean both things. It doesn't just mean buying; it also means selling.
Selling as well.
That's something which people need to be listening to, because it's great talking about players that are going to come in and improve the club, but it's also being active on selling. That it will be important for Chelsea, because I think there's a lot of wood in that club who needs to be shifted along.
Bro, I'll mention one. Marcos Alonso, wood.
Gone.
Danny Drinkwater needs
Gone.
to be gone. Ross
Gone.
Barkley.
He's already gone.
Yeah. So Ruben
Ross Barkley.
Ruben Softus ass cheeks. Ross Barkley, as you just mentioned, right? Then what else? Baba Rahman. Bloody hell, I didn't even know he was still with us. And that's just to name a few within that group. And yeah, this is bloody incredible. But hearing from saying this, it's bloody. It's good. It's a good feeling for me. It can mean ins and also outs, which I'm really, really happy about.
We want to do important things for Chelsea Football Club. So the new owners are ready to do it. Then, of course, it will be a long-term project. So they are not looking for something in few months to be completed. Of course, it will take some time. But already this summer, they want to plan for important things to reinforce and improve the team. So this is the message that is coming from Chelsea. We have to say that it's going to be really important to see what happens with kind of targets that they want, because they are looking for players, in particular in the defense. We know that there are players leaving, Rudiger to Real Madrid and Christensen to Barcelona. Koundé is a name that we have to keep. Jules Koundé, Sevilla centre-back. I already released many videos about him in the last few months because he's always been a player in the list for Chelsea.
Yeah, this one, choose Kunde then. I believe you were talking to me about earlier. We were having a little bit of a chat in Discord before we started doing the stream, and we were making a little bit of a point saying that, Diego Carlos coming into Aston Villa, would it change the Kunde deal? I believe it does change a little bit.
Oh, it does change it, of
Yeah,
course.
because we weren't gonna pay the release clause for Kunde,
Yeah.
right? So we were gonna pay like 10 or 15 million below the release clause for Diego Carlos. Sorry, for Jules Koundé.
Yeah.
Because Diego Carlos is leaving, we still pay the release clause and get him because we have been scouting this guy for 2 years. Last year it almost happened. It has to happen this year. And also we have no choice.
Yeah. I mean, there's a real lack of good quality centre backs available in world football as it stands. There genuinely is not many good ones. That are currently not tied down to proper deals as it stands. So this is why I'm quite glad for Liverpool that we did our centre back business last season with Konate, because he would be very much a target for a number of players. So
60,
I think
70
Koundé.
odd million without a problem.
Yeah, of course. Koundé, as it stands now, though, I mean, I think when I say it changes because ultimately Sevilla are in a bit more of a position of strength that they can say, well, well, you either pay the release clause or you're not going.
Yeah.
Because we need you.
100%. But at the end of the day, also Sevilla does not have a choice anymore in the situation as well. At the end of the day,
If it's the release clause, it's done and dusted. But I think this is Sevilla's plan. I think them agreeing to sell Diego Carlos is almost part of the plan to say, well, we're going to maximise the profit out of Koundé as well. That's my opinion. That's the way I see it. That they've said, that's great. Carlos, 31 million's the fee there. Okay, Koundé, you've not been able to do your business yet, Chelsea, because obviously you couldn't agree deals. So I think Sevilla's taken the opportunity to not back us into a corner, but to make the negotiation a bit more simple. Pay the release clause or you're not having him.
But I do agree with Chelsea for not making the deal last year as well at the same time, because everything was agreed and Sevilla just comes in and says we need 10 million more. And we were like, no, we agreed. And what are you doing? I mean, I 100% back Chelsea for doing that at the end of the day. It might be the right decision or the wrong decision, but at the end of the day, we can't let people just push us around just because we have the money as well at the same time.
No, exactly.
Yeah. So moving on, Jules Koundé. So let's see.
He was really one step away from joining. They always want important money. He has a release clause for 80 million euros, but this summer, Chelsea are intention to try again for Jules Koundé, and they are keeping tabs for players even in other positions, because Chelsea plans could be to sign a new midfielder too and a player in the strikers position. So we will see which kind.
So that's the most that was the most interesting thing for me, which means to me that the players are going.
Yeah, I mean they have to, don't they? But it's listening out for the story of who is going. That's the important bit.
I'll share a tweet after we watch this video so we can talk about it a little bit more, Dan, so that it gives a little bit of in depth of what he says as well.
Definitely.
Player they want to target, but Chelsea are planning for something this summer with the new owners to start part of the rebuilding of the team because it's needed. The second part is that they will make decisions this summers for many of the players that are out of contract next year or in the coming years. So they want to be fast. This year, 2022, they want to complete as soon as possible the decisions on players like N'Golo Kante, out of contract next summer. For Chelsea, it's important to meet with his agents and to discuss about the future. Jorginho, in or out, is something that will be discussed. Marcos Alonso, he wants to leave, and
Out.
he will leave Chelsea
Out.
this summer.
Thank
with Barcelona
God.
really interested and in well advanced talks with Marcos Alonso, but still
Yes.
nothing agreed between.
I am so happy about that.
Yeah, I mean that's it. I mean, but it just goes to show like it's Chilwell, Emerson at that left back position, isn't it?
I think
Left
so.
back.
I think so. And
Clubs because of the sanctions, of course. So Marcos to meet with Chelsea and Christian Pulisic, and also really important to see what happens with Romelu Lukaku, because these three players want to have a conversation with.
I don't like that. I
Sign
don't
him
like
up
that.
for a new deal, extend his contract.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't think. I don't see us being able to get rid of him. I just don't
Nah.
see it. I don't see it. I don't know where he'd go.
No. He goes on to talk about meeting with Mason Mount and also Reece James. as
These
well.
are all, Mount and Reece. They're easy bits and pieces. Contracts, get them nailed down, no problem. The difficulty comes. I mean, not from the Koundé deal. It's not difficult in the slightest. It's quite simple. It is quite simple. But what's that? Open to sell Hakim Ziyech. I'm not surprised. The
I
guy's
am not surprised.
worked out.
Yeah,
At
I'm not
all.
surprised as well.
I mean, I
And-
remember when you signed him, and I thought, "Oh, for God's sakes, he looked really good. Like he looked like a brilliant player."
The thing is, then we didn't pay a lot of money for Hakim. We paid around 30 something odd million for Hakim to bring him in for bringing him to Chelsea. But also, Hakim is a player that could go to an Italy or a Spain or back to even the Eredivisie and do really well because he suits those types of leagues. And there is a lot of value for players like Hakim.
It will depend on your valuation, I think, really, as to who's going to be open to kind of doing that deal. Hakim Ziyech has had a poor season, but I still think he's a very good player.
I think so as well.
But maybe it was the wrong place for him to come. Maybe it was the wrong.
But the thing is, then they bought in Hakim Ziyech to play the way Lampard wants to play, right?
Yeah.
He was never suited for a Thomas Tuchel's three at the back situation.
No.
And this is where I always think, yep, now that the owners are going to be backing Thomas Tuchel, players like Hakim Ziyech or even Christian Pulisic, maybe other players in up front would be also leaving, because at the end of the day, these are all Lampard players.
They are. They are. I mean, that's where Chelsea has been has had one of their major problems is when you keep changing your manager over and over and over and over again, every 2.5 years at the very most, then you're just gonna have a team filled with players from different regimes at the end of the day.
Exactly.
So it's about now getting Thomas Tuchel signed down and keeping him in there at the club for the next 4 or 5 years, to be honest.
100%.
Because if they don't, they'll then need to get a Thomas Tuchel style manager who can continue on with what you're trying to build, because it's so important that it's about building an identity at a club and playing the same way over and over again.
It's also a blessing in disguise because Thomas Tuchel being here, the new regime coming in, it's Thomas Tuchel gets basically like a free.
He gets a reset, doesn't he?
He does definitely get a proper reset, and also
he gets a full reset. It's like he's the new manager, so
exactly.
he'll get all the benefits of being the new manager, shall we say, where he can build the team in his image, because it's not the same old ownership who said, "Oh, you spent this much money" or whatever. It's a case of new ownership, and he's technically the new manager, so you'll benefit from that. You need to definitely get the Koundé situation sorted. You need another centre back, for me at least. You'll probably have to settle a little.
To be honest, I would prefer to get even a Tarkowski. To be honest, a great defender.
Should be looking at trying to get Tomori back, but that's another.
But apparently, Tomori, like I did do some research about Tomori. The reason why Tomori was allowed to go, it's that the way Tomori defends doesn't suit the way Chelsea want to play from the back.
Yeah, horses for courses, isn't it? Exactly.
Yeah,
It's about having the right
it's
people in the right
it's
position.
nothing to do with Tomori being bad or Tomori being, whatever it is, or doesn't suit what it's just the fact that we don't defend the way Tomori wants to defend, or
Yeah,
that's the
exactly.
way.
You got to have the right players, haven't you? To do the
Exactly.
right jobs and stuff.
And
So
that henceforth you see why Tony Rudiger or even Andres Christiansen do well in that system,
mm,
because the system suited players like Christiansen and Rudiger.
definitely.
So hence why, like, but if Tomori wants, like, if it's a real option and Thomas Tuchel thinks bringing Tomori back is a good situation, most likely bring him back. He's a Chelsea lad, came from the academy, will
Yeah,
give everything for the club.
there you go. Exactly. So, yeah, and that'll be it. It'll be an interesting situation. But I think there's a lot of clubs out there who have got a lot of work to do.
100%.
I'm as a Liverpool fan, I feel quite lucky that we don't have these kind of as it stands. It can come potentially. We've got the Mane and the Salah situation as it stands. Mane's quotes to the Telegraph was saying, after the Champions League final, I will let you know. But he actually then goes on to elaborate on these quotes and said it will be special. It will be very special. So for me, I think he stays.
I think so
Is
as well.
what,
I don't see
yeah,
why he needs to go.
yeah. I don't know. I mean,
You never
he's
know
he's,
at the
act-
end of the
he's
day.
actually quoted. He says that we need to win more Premier Leagues. That was his
I
words.
mean,
Like
he
his words
he
were,
is
we need
right.
to win more Premier Leagues. Like, as in, like, not criticizing. He's just saying that we need to win more Premier Leagues. So
Oh,
that's the kind of
he is,
conversation that you have when you're staying.
and he is also right in saying that as well, because of the team that Liverpool are, the way they play, how dominant they are. They do need to win more Premier Leagues as well.
Yeah, and that's
And I'm
it.
not criticizing, like, that's
No,
no
but on his
criticism. It's
transfer
just
side, with him making mention to winning more Premier Leagues, doesn't it leads me to believe that he's not going
oh,
anywhere. I
yeah,
think a lot of what's happening is trying to just say, I don't want to talk about contracts. I want to talk about winning Champions League on Saturday,
yeah.
and then we have time to talk about, because it's a strange one, because for everybody else it's now transfer time. Football's ended, but for
Mm.
Liverpool, football's
It's
still
not.
on. It's
It's
still
not.
on.
Exactly. And also to add on that, it just doesn't go to show that Liverpool definitely have to win more Premier Leagues as well. It also goes to show that where the mentality of these players
It's
lie,
the
they want
ambition.
to win. The ambition of these players want to win more. And I'm just gonna address one of the questions that Twisted put in. Does Tuchel play the Chelsea way? Will fans have the patience for effective but non-entertaining football? Let me ask you a question, Twisted. When has Chelsea played entertaining football? Even then, like, do you remember a
They
time where
wouldn't be.
Chelsea?
To be honest with you, Chelsea's not a team that if if I'm
I
watching the
don't
three
think we
o'clock,
have ever played entertaining
if
football.
I'm watching the 3 o'clock match and I've got a choice of watching, crikey, I don't know, Brentford,
Brighton, yeah,
Brighton, I probably would watch them,
yeah.
because Chelsea's not the style of football that I choose to watch. It's not.
Mm.
It's not a dig. It's just it's not.
No, it
It's
is
not.
what it is, bro. Like,
Yeah,
I
it's not something I
remember
choose to watch the game. It's not been very fun.
Uncle Jose, who just won the Conference League for the first time, right? We didn't play any entertaining football. We played effective counter-attacking football. I loved it. I think the only time we played actually very, very good football was maybe under what do you call Don Carlo. That was very entertaining. But every other time, even with the days with Hazard, most of these were counter-attacking football. What you call, again, Jose's reign, again counter-attacking. That little period of time where we played with Villas Boas, then went on to Di Matteo, counter-attacking.
Yeah.
That counter-attacking football won us the Champions League. Then that little period of time where we played with Rafa Benitez, counter-attacking again, won the Europa League. Then straight on to Jose again, counter-attacking. Uh, Antonio Conte, counter-attacking, won the Premier League. Effective, not entertaining. We'll score loads of goals. Hence why look at Tottenham scoring loads of goals, but it's counter-attacking football. And for
Yeah.
me, I have no problem with it because for me, as a Chelsea fan, I enjoying it because we win. That's the
Yeah.
most important thing for me. I don't care whether the football is entertaining because it's this notion that all these fans have right now. The football needs to be entertaining. They need to pass a certain way, play a certain way, do a trick or a flick or opt out. Who cares?
Yeah. It is. I mean that's the one. It's like it's not football that I would choose to watch, to be honest. But
No,
again, it's not taking away from it. It's an effective style of football. It's the same as Atletico Madrid. It's a
no,
style that works, and you choose what you work. But you have to buy players who work in that system. You're able
exactly.
to effectively
Mm. Like, I'm not
influence that
saying that we
style
are
of
playing
football.
counter-attacking football right now. We are just playing very, very much possession-based right now. Certain games we play counter-attacking, but it's not the prettiest thing to see. But
No.
I enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. And that'll be the right thing. It's about getting the right players in. Chelsea, you've got a lot of things to do, and I suppose this is probably a good opportunity just for to people watching. Is that we've got a couple of shows lined up where we're going to
Mm,
have the current lineups in like a FIFA style sort of team, and then
mm,
we're going to discuss the kind of players who we think need to come into the club, who they're going to improve, using the links, using the players that are being mentioned, just to see how the teams might line up for the
mm.
first game of the season in August. Because as we say, there's a fair few teams who've got a lot of transfers that they need to make, and so that's what we've got lined up anyway in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and also we will not be doing like a transfer show every day. We
No,
this show will be something that will be happening once every week, so that we do a little bit of a roundup of what is happening, and then transitioning on to the show that Dan just mentioned as
yeah,
well.
we,
So
we, we don't want
every
to bore we don't want to bore you to tears because obviously say it's you can read
yeah,
all this up on Twitter and stuff like
uh,
that. We just want to bring it to you what's going on. But yeah, that's our original side will be to build our own teams and then kind of put these players in just to give you a visual idea of how we think these clubs will line up next season.
exactly.
So yeah, join us for that one.
And also, like, we are not going to do it like straight away prematurely. We are just going to do it maybe in the middle of the transfer window where there's a lot more concrete type
Yeah, a lot
rumors
more
coming in.
proper links. Yeah,
Exactly right. But we do have a few shows lined up. Maybe also a special guest that might be joining us for our next shows as well,
good
which
stuff.
would be pretty good. Because we are gonna be, we'll most probably be doing the Champions League preview tomorrow with the boys and Dan, because it's gonna be a big day for Dan. I can see it in Dan's face that he is very excited for Saturday, and then we will definitely be reviewing the Champions League, and then straight away going on to rank the Premier League clubs. We will be scheduling all those streams hopefully tomorrow, so you guys
Yeah,
can hit that notification button and stay in touch with us, so that whenever we go live, that you can join us live, give us your comments, and so on and so forth. I think our first transfer show has been a bit of a good one as well, isn't it,
yeah,
Dan?
it's been a nice chat. Yeah, we've had a bit of interaction. It's been good fun,
Yeah,
and it's a good way to start.
exactly. And thank you, Twisted. Thank you, Neil, for joining us live as well. Mate, hopefully we'll catch you guys uh, in the Discord as well. If any of you guys want to come on and join us live, always welcome as well. And if anybody, even a Villa fan, Leeds fan, whoever sees this,
Anyone,
anyone who wants to join us in whatever shows that we do, please, you guys are always welcome. You can always chat to us uh, on the show, and then let us know that you guys want to come on. We'll definitely let you in. And yeah, in saying that, it's time to enjoy time to end our show. Thanks, Twisted.
Cheers, listen.
Mr. Moderator, as always, it's very humbling that you guys come in and watch us every day as well. It's a brilliant sight to see, and thank you for doing that. But anyway, boys, thank you, goodbye, God bless,